Okay, what is up, y'all? My name is Nick. Welcome to Roll Coverage, the home of the press conference breakdown. And now we are going into the post-game press conference with Dave Canales talking about the New England Patriots. 17-3 was the loss, 151 total offensive yards by the Panthers, and I am sick to see such a poor performance, but it's just preseason week one. So without further ado, let's jump right to it.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Nope. They roll coverage. First of all, just want to say just how excited I was. Tonight was about our first time guys, the rookies, the guys who haven't had a chance to play in the NFL. And I think what they found tonight is it's just football. And they ran, they played hard. We had some great tackling, some great hitting. We desperately need that this time of year to go full live all the way to the ground. And I mean, I'll take a look at the film and kind of see what it was, but you know, I didn't see a lot of missed tackles. I saw some really physical play from the defensive side. Offensively, played hard, played physical, but the execution just wasn't there. We put ourselves behind the sticks a bunch with some pre-snap penalties, holding calls, some things like that are things that we're going to have to work through. But when that happens, you know, it just makes everything so much harder. And while we'd like to, you know, be able to have those downs and be able to mix things more and sustain drives, you know, that's something we got to do. I thought the kicking units covered great. It was really fun to see the kick return and just the possibilities of what that can become. And again, just got to tip my hat to the Patriots. They played hard as well. They played cleaner football than us. I think we had 9 penalties to their 6, you know, so we gave them that advantage right there from a field position standpoint, which put a couple of points on the board for them. And just all in all, just for me, it was just a great opportunity to be able to talk to the coaches, talk to the officials, kind of have those conversations. You know, we had a chance to replay one, which George Lee upstairs helping me with that was great. And so it was just great reps for me to just get the flow of how the communication happens and being able to work all through that.
So again, if you've come to Roll Coverage, to me, your host, the home of the press conference breakdown, you'll know that Dave Canales is not only energetic, but he always comes out with this pre-prepared speech, okay? I've talked about it previously, and obviously he's trying to hit on some things that are pain points, we'll say, for the team. But I think that there is something, and I'm going to be working with somebody that you guys might know, Mr. Jordan Cork, boom, there's his stuff, to try and figure out some stuff, because I have a feeling that every time Dave comes out here and discusses something, that is truly what's going on with the team and the issues that he sees. Now, obviously, the offensive line is going to be a big pain point for the team, and especially for the fan base, because I am going to be very vocal about that void at the center position. I understand we have a guy there, but we're switching him over into that position. He just doesn't feel like he's the guy for that. And I feel like these pre-snap penalties, these holding calls and everything like that is a symptom of a poor offensive line. So obviously I'm being a little pessimistic. I'm going to give Dave a little bit of opportunity to speak, but just so you guys know, his normal press conferences are 9 to 15 minutes. This one's 5 minutes. So obviously he is not too happy. The rumor is that he didn't want to talk immediately after the game. So I want him to finish. I want him to give me some nuggets to move forwards, I would say. But I also need to see that he is adapting well to that head coaching role, because, again, a 5-minute press conference immediately after the first preseason game, that's a tough one, my guy. But maybe that's just me. So, well, we'll proceed.
Obviously, not playing your starters was a conscious decision.
Oh, yeah.
How do you evaluate the game as a whole, knowing you kind of went in shorthanded that way?
Oh, I think just valuable reps, right, for these guys. The opportunity to play this many snaps in a preseason game for the guys that were up for this game it's invaluable, you know. And Jack Plummer getting out there, you know, and had a rough night, but it was just it's his first NFL game, and hopefully we'll get to the point where we can show him the film and just kind of show him, hey man, just trust your preparation, trust your timing from practice, you know, and just to stay composed as the game goes along, because he was able to put a good drive together. But then we had the grounding penalty that kind of kicked us out of that advantageous field position that we had. So I just love the opportunity it gives for a lot of the guys for us to evaluate them.
I think that's fair, but if you watched Plummer play and you think that he is anything other than hot garbage, we need to get your head examined. Second of all, why are we going with the opposite of Bryce Young for his backup? We're going for tall and accurate Andy Dalton. Jack Plummer, I think he's like 6'5" or something like that, unless I'm thinking of somebody else. And if I am, I'll definitely make sure to correct myself. But I just don't see Jack Plummer as a starter in the NFL. I'm sorry, I don't see what you're seeing, Dave. And I don't think that whatever scheme you're devising to help Bryce will also be able to parlay that into Plummer. We need to be 100% focused on Bryce and his development. This first game, we should have at least had our starting 5 offensive line out there to at least get a full series, see what they look like. I'm hoping that in week 2 and week 3, we're able to see a little bit of that. Of course, we have a joint practice with the Jets, so we're going to see our offensive and defensive lines against top-tier offensive defensive lines over there. Of course, that secondary in New York is also a tough one as well. So it's going to be an interesting one moving forwards. And this guy either needs to fix it or we're going to be a 4-win team. And I hate to say that because if that's the case, I think Dave might be on the hot seat. I hope not. But 4 wins with all these retools and everything we just did, man, he must have sold David Tepper on a beautiful dream if he's going to let him go to a second year. So I need you to fix it now. But for your sake, for the team's sake, for the fan base's sake, and of course for the community of Carolina as a whole, the whole One Carolina thing, we need this team to start rebounding ASAP.
Jets coming in next week.
Yeah.
How much do you weigh those snaps versus getting your regulars into a game?
Well, the practice, the joint practice is going to be a fantastic opportunity. We're going to still have to evaluate, because of just sheer numbers. We have to evaluate who we want playing in this game, because we got thin. We finished with 5 offensive linemen in this game. I got to tip my hat to those guys up front, just hanging in there for the whole second half, and some of them played the whole game. So, again, invaluable reps to kind of feel some of the different parts of our system and the different calls. But I love those guys for doing that, for being able to just hang tight and work through it all the way.
Okay, maybe I'm reading more into this, but he keeps hammering the home of the system. So if that's the case, when hopefully we get to a Super Bowl with Bryce Young, again, fingers crossed, hopefully, do we see a scenario where people are like, oh, it's a system. He's a system quarterback. See, this is what Dave Canales does when he implements his system. Now, obviously, that system can go the opposite way and we could be dog water. But at the same time, I don't think that's going to be the case. The system just worries me because how the media, how pundits, how everybody treats the word system, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. Obviously, he's talking about the system both offense and defensively. Of course, special teams now with the new rule changes. But it's just a very odd thing to continue to hammer home system. So maybe it's just me.
What happened to Cade along the way? I didn't hear that.
Cade had a little bit of a shoulder injury. They're still checking that out and evaluating it. We'll have more information real soon.
How much did that impact things? I mean, even with everybody healthy, you went into that game with 7 offensive linemen. That's basically 1 fewer than you probably go into a regular season.
Right.
How does that kind of complicate what you're able to do?
It does, for sure. So that's some of the conversations we're going to have as far as who plays this week.
Nash wasn't active tonight.
Yeah. So Nash and his wife were having a child, so he stayed home to do that. I thought that was really important, for him to be there, to be with his wife, just a special moment that only come around every once in a while. And so it's for him to be able to do that was great, and again, just really tip of the cap for the guys that were able to kind of, stand in his stead. And I thought Andrew Rame, our rookie center, came in and did a really good job down the end right there.
I don't know why this keeps bothering me, okay? I'm one of the people that was very vocal. I thought we should have taken Jackson Powers Johnson at center over Xavier. There might have been a scenario where we might have been able to snag Xavier and snag JPJ, but obviously we ended up with the draft that we have now. I'm a bit concerned moving forwards, but obviously Dave is hoping to have more than just this year to build. The system's going to take way longer than 3 preseason games in a training camp. So I'm expecting guys to not really fully understand this install because it's so high level. So that's one of the concerns that I have as well, considering this offense, of course, retooled and everything like that, wasn't able to execute at a high level last year. Now, obviously, the defense had some moments in this Patriots game. They really did. There's a few where I was happy to get the sack and everything like that. I honestly thought we would get 0 sacks in this game. So, hey, 1 is more than 0. I don't see it all coming together so quickly. I see the Saints the first game of the year, being a rough one. But we could also win that game because the Saints are so god awful. So we're going to kind of need to see where the team is at. I'd really like to see where this team is at week 3 of preseason and see if we are playing starters, if we're playing Bryce, we're playing everybody, or if we're truly sitting them until the season starts. I don't necessarily agree with that decision, but it's not my decision to make. It is this man right here. So the offensive line, again, holes. Pass rush holes, secondary holes. We need a lot of stuff to really stay healthy and stay at the top of their game. So we're batting 1,000, hopefully.
A couple guys on defense seem to make some plays first half, particularly Iku and Lamar Jackson. I mean,
Yeah.
could you talk about what they were able to offer on a night when it's a little bit of a mixed bag?
Yeah, no, Echo, it just starts with strain. He played so hard tonight, and was playing physical. And again, I gotta look at the film to see what the whole story was, but the effort was there and the style of play was fantastic. Lamar made the most of the opportunities he was given, and he made some great plays for us. He had a couple of nice tackles and hits out there too, so he really showed something and showed us something about him.
Well, I just want to say first, thank you, Dave Canales, for doing this post-game presser. Obviously, it's a limited 5-minute presser, so there's not really a whole lot of breakdown that I can get to. I do believe that he is speaking in these beginning kickoff speeches. Basically, he's telling us what he really thinks of this team. He's telling us the issues kind of in a compliment sandwich. Hey, man, we got some penalties, but we're going to improve on that kind of thing. So we're in an interesting position. We're, of course, going to be rated probably 30 to 32 in most power rankings moving forwards, regardless of the updated offensive line. The coaching decisions are going to factor into that as well. So these last 2 preseason games, I'm hoping we can see some big changes in the offensive scheme, but at the same time, I also need to see a stout offensive line. I need to see the defense applying pressure, and of course, I need to see some batted passes in our secondary. So I'm hoping that we're able to put it all together at the right time. But right now, I'm still very hesitant and need to see week 1, game 1, what our Panthers look like. But if you want to come by and check that out, especially right after that game is done, I should have a breakdown out. So make sure you're here to check it out. Make sure you're subscribed, everything like that. If you have any teams that you want me to cover, I'm going to be focusing on the NFC South, mainly my Carolina Panthers to start, and we'll be adding more teams going on. Of course, we got some big teams in there as well, like the 49ers, Packers, Chiefs, and more. So make sure you follow. Make sure you come check me out. My name is Nick. This has been Roll Coverage, home of the press conference breakdown. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.